Hey guys, Tisha here. Welcome back. I know, it's been a long time. I was extremely sick, still am a little sick, but not to the degree that I was. And I said, you know what? I need to get caught up on some videos. So let me start with this Real Housewives of Potomac review. So this is what I think. I don't care about Nneka's tears. Nneka took too long to apologize, in my opinion, to Wendy after attacking her family. Nneka is an opportunist that used Wendy as a part of a storyline because we've already gotten the fertility storyline. Without her fertility issues, what else does Nneka have? Because we're not seeing any of her attorney work or anything like that. We're just being told that she bought this house in Potomac, that she's renovating, and she comes from money. What else does Nneka have? Nneka should have checked out the information that Lebe told her with Wendy rather than going around to other people in the group. Once she decided that she was going to talk to the ladies before she even talked to Wendy, that made me question Nneka's intentions in even telling the story. Spreading something as serious as witchcraft allegations from episode to episode, to me, is just too much, especially knowing what it means in their culture. Those type of allegations are extremely damaging, and Nneka knew that. So for Nneka to do it, I'm just looking at Nneka like she's crazy. Nneka allowed Ashley and company to play her against Wendy, and in my opinion, it's kind of backfiring because I don't think a lot of us are viewing Nneka as this wonderful addition to the show. Please understand, though, that even though I'm coming down on Nneka during this current moment, that Wendy is a liar too. I don't think that her mother is a witch, but I do feel like her mother, based on what we've seen of her mother, did something. Now, what that something is, I don't know. So let's go ahead and begin with the actual episode. So we open up at Mia's house. She wants to know how G felt about the spice rolling party, the Happy Eddie thing, and he said he had a good time. They talk about Karen and her getting into it, and then Ashley arrives. Mia brings up the divorce. So Ashley is basically saying that she's scared of what will happen if she's a single mom. She talks about things that happened to her when she was a child, and she's kind of using this as an excuse as to why she's still married. She says she wants to make sure that she can make her mortgage. So my thing is, if you knew before you purchased this home with him, because he has something to do with it. You knew before you purchased that home that you wanted a divorce. So why would you purchase a home that you cannot maintain without his financial help? You get something that you can maintain regardless of whether or not you're with that man. That way, that's not something that you have to worry about. It just seems like Ashley is stalling because she doesn't want to give up the money. Ashley is kind of an enigma to me. She has so much to say about everyone else, but when the mirror is held up to her, she doesn't see her hypocrisy. It's not fair, in my opinion, because is this not the same woman who spoke a whole bunch of junk about Candace being at her mother's home, which was also for Candace's security? She talked so much about her mother paying for things and really used to give Candace a really, really hard time about that. Meanwhile, that's exactly what Ashley is doing with Michael, because she's using Michael for comfort. What makes it worse to me, though, is you're doing this with a man that you're married to, that you claim you want to be divorced from, with all the allegations and all the things that are out there about Michael. Yet here we are. We're still right here. She claims that she's going to divorce him by the end of the year. I don't know what's significant about the end of the year. If Ashley is smart, this whole entire time, Ashley needs to be stacking her money so that she can pay for her place. I don't know what she gets from Potomac, but use this to your advantage while you can so that you can maintain your home. And if you can't maintain it, then downsize. They then talk about this trip to the Dominican Republic that Robin is sponsoring and how everyone has been invited. We then see Nneka and Wendy meet up to talk And automatically, when Wendy arrives and sits down at the table, the energy is off. Nneka says that 2 weeks before she was even part of the cast, before she met anyone, that she got third-party information from Lebe. She said that this happened before she even met up with Ashley. Now, this is what she's telling us. So with that being said, I don't understand why she would not go to Wendy with that information. Wendy tells Nneka that she didn't like that she said so many damaging things about her mom. Nneka tells her, what Lebe told her, which we've heard this over and over again. I have to be honest, I don't trust Lebe. I feel like Lebe wanted to be a part of the cast too, and Lebe was looking for any type of in, because even in seeing some of the messages that Wendy released on Twitter, it's clear that Lebe wanted to be attached in whatever way she could to this franchise. So Nneka feels like with Lebe telling her what was said, she felt like Wendy didn't want her to be a part of the group before she even got there. And I don't get this, because at a point when she was told those things, she had not yet met Wendy. Then when she did meet Wendy, Wendy greeted her. Wendy was cordial to her. Wendy even corrected the women in how to say her name. So why did you think that you were going to be iced out when clearly at that point it had already been shown that Wendy was going to be cordial to you, and so were the other women? So her story to me isn't making sense. Wendy says, my mom and sister denied those allegations. So I want to know, what did I do to you? And Nneka can't answer the question and goes back to the shrine talk. There's no way that Nneka really believes this shrine thing, because Nneka can sit there all day and talk about how this witchcraft thing has impacted herself and her family. But if that were really the case, would she want for this woman's daughter, for Wendy, who's attached to a witch, to be in her home? It's just not adding up. Wendy wants to know if she could apologize for calling her mom a witch, and Nneka apologizes, but to me, she doesn't mean it, because immediately after her apology, she goes back to how this affected her in the shrine talk and all those other things. Wendy does not apologize, which Wendy should have apologized for calling that lady a crackhead, but Wendy is not going to do it. Wendy says, at this point, we just need to coexist, and she walks away. And I feel like that sounds like a plan to me. Just coexist. Deal with each other in terms of the show. And I don't want to hear any more about this shrine thing, but we know that's not going to be the case. Meanwhile, Nneka, after she walks off, says, I tried to apologize to her. And she sits there saying she feels like she wants to cry because she's been bullied by Wendy's family, and Wendy knows it. Nneka's fake, and sometimes Wendy is too. I'm over the both of them. Like, seriously. At what point do we let this go? Wendy says her family didn't say it. You say she did, but it wasn't said to you. It was given to you from a third party. So could it be possible that that third party misinterpreted or misconstrued or telephoned and said it wrong? Like, that is a possibility, but all of them are lying to me. We get to Chris and Candace. I do not like how Candace speaks to Chris, and I don't like how sometimes Chris speaks to Candace. They're at home fussing about this $1,000 purse that, thousands of dollar purse that Candace got. And he talks about how, Candace is working too much. That even though Candace used to complain about Chris and his job and him working too much, which he then quit the job, now Candace is working too much. And Candace, it's the way that she talks about her husband that's like, okay, you don't really respect this man. Because she's sitting in confessional and she's sitting there saying that, they're just busy, and Chris is busy at home too. He works at home doing the YouTube thing. And I don't mean any harm. I don't have that many followers. I have 1,100. Whoop, whoop. But with that being said, in 2 months, I haven't even made $200. I'm just keeping it real. I finally am monetized, which I'm appreciative of. But in 2 months, I have not even made $200. So how much money, and I didn't go and look and see how many subscribers he has and how much content he has out, but how much money is he making from that? It kind of makes it seem like at this current point, Candace is the breadwinner and that Chris isn't receiving anything. And if I were Chris, I would go back to my regular schedule program because it's clear that Candace wants to wear the pants. That's a problem for me. She says he's a content creator. They also talk about IVF, but Candace doesn't want, she says she thinks about it all the time, but she doesn't really want to get pregnant right now because she's concerned about the additional hormones with them finding that lump. Now, they told Candace, and Candace even reads the paperwork that says that this lump is not cancerous, but Candace is afraid that the hormones will make it become cancerous, and she wants the lump out. Take it out. Candace, to me, may not want to have kids because even though she seems somewhat fearful of the whole lump thing, I feel like to a certain extent it's an excuse. Would it make sense to have a child with someone who is currently not even really working? No, it wouldn't. I think that Candace doesn't want it, and Candace just isn't saying it, and I kind of feel like she's using it as an excuse, but you all let me know down below what you think. We see Grace and Giselle. This is the only time that I like Giselle is when she's with her kids. We see flashbacks of Grace over the years. It's Grace's graduation. Giselle gives her a pep talk and tells her how proud she is. We then see some clips of the graduation and the after, it looks like an after party dinner thing. And Giselle's father and Jamal was there. And it's nice to see that he was able to be there for that moment because we know now that her father has passed. It was cute. We then see Mia, Robin, and Nneka, and they are shopping for this trip to the DR at a boutique. Mia decides to say that Karen is fun unless she's around certain people like Wendy. And I want to know if Mia is talking about Karen or is she talking about herself? Because Mia, to me, is the one who switches it up. She's the one who changes the way that she interacts based on if Giselle and Robin are around. Because when those two are around, she's too busy running after them and trying to be included in their group. And I'm just watching all these different scenes, and I'm just like, okay, this is just a whole bunch of hypocrites, man. They all get on my nerves. Nneka then talks about meeting up with Wendy and how she tried to apologize, but basically Wendy doesn't want to move on. And then Robin speaks about how Wendy just does not want to move forward. And I'm like, okay, Robin, you're one to talk about not moving forward. Not saying that you don't have a reason to have issue with Candace, but your hands aren't clean. Hypocrites, as I said. It's trip time. The ladies have all made it to the DR along with, I think her name is Kiana, but it has a weird, like a R somewhere in there. So is it Karina? Because I keep hearing her called different things. We're just going to call her Key. So they made it to the DR with Key. They're in the Sprinter. Robin's letting them know where they'll be staying. They're going to be on a property with villas and a private chef and staff and all these other things. Robin says that there really isn't an agenda. She just wants it to be fun. Karen says, thank you, Robin, because Ray comes here every year. She tells the story about how 27 years ago when she called Ray's room, that a lady answered the phone and he told her it was the maid. I don't understand why Karen would give these ladies these type of stories when it just gives them something else to talk about. They make fun of it, say, okay, so Ray's been doing stuff. They arrive at the villa, or they have the private pool and the full staff waiting on them. All the ladies are actually speaking, which is nice to see. Key is having some stomach issues. Apparently she drank too much champagne and her ulcer kicked in. You can't play with stuff like that when you're on a trip. You shouldn't play with it at all, but I'm not going to be judgmental because there's things that I'm not supposed to eat, chocolate that I eat. So I get it. We find out that there are 8 bedrooms. 4 of them are singles, 4 of them are doubles. Robin's room is beautiful. if I were staying there, I would want to be there. And I'm just like, okay, so Robin, this is yet, even though this is Robin's trip, this is yet another trip that Robin is getting catered to. And we know Robin isn't paying for this trip. We know that this is a production thing, but we're labeling it as Robin's trip, and Robin has the best room. So Robin lets it be known that, Karen, we're going to do something different this trip. You always get your own bedroom, and this time you will be sharing. Karen is looking like, I'm not sharing. And she lets it be known she's not sharing. Robin points out that her and Giselle always share. So it's time for Karen to share. She says, Giselle, Nneka, and Ashley, you will be getting a single. I found it to be odd, and so even Ashley pointed it out, that Nneka got her own room because Nneka is new to the group. So the fact that Nneka got her own room and it was those people who got their own rooms, to me, just shows where people stand with Robin. It's very telling. You all don't see what's going on here because I see what's going on here. She left Mia out of that, though. So Mia, pay attention to where you stand because she didn't consider you in getting a room. Karen decides that she's going to book her own room because she wants a view of the ocean. Ashley tries to offer her a room, but Karen doesn't want it because she says she doesn't want to be boxed in. We see Robin and Karen go at it. Karen tells her to shut up. While she's walking off, Robin says, blah, 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 blah. No, like she literally says it. And for a long time, it's a lot of blahs. It's just dumb. We then later see Karen on the couch because the lady who originally was going to charge her card $5,000 and let her get her own another room is now afraid to because of all the arguing and stuff. So she's sitting on the couch looking sad because she says she don't want to be in no double room, and she's not going to be in a double room with Mia. So we have all of this back and forth just for Karen to end up in Ashley's room that she was offered in the first place from Ashley. Now, Karen, I like you, girl, but you got to get a grip. Giselle talks about, what is it that Karen doesn't want people to see? Oh, that's right. She doesn't want people to see her without that wig. I don't mean any harm, Giselle, but you can't talk either because your weave isn't always put together that great, nor are your outfits. So let's not come for the grand dame, okay? We see Giselle come to check on their friend Key, and I say their friend because Robin says that she knows Key. They trying to make it seem like it's just Wendy's friend, but a lot of the ladies know her and they've had interactions with her because we see a flashback of the guy that knows Key and Robin saying that she knew Key through Giselle. So they're all cool with Key, okay? So, okay, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So she comes in, Giselle does the check on her. She thanks Giselle for coming to check on her because she's the only one who's done it. And of course, Giselle makes it a thing in confessionals because the other ladies didn't check on her and they're supposed to be her friend. Shut up, Giselle. The girl had an ulcer. This is something that she's obviously trouble with. She obviously isn't in dire straits because she's in her room changed. She came out, talked to the ladies even about what room she was going to be in, and she seemed fine. So they really didn't need to check in on her. Giselle is great at stirring the pot every time. And I don't really feel like she cared if the lady was okay. I think that this was just a way of her trying to have a one-up on Wendy though. So we see Giselle, Robin, Mia, sitting on the couch before going night golfing. Giselle wants to crown Nneka for actually living in Potomac and owning her own home as shade to Karen because she was told by Nneka what Karen said about her not living in a certain part of Potomac. So she wants to crown her the grand dame of Potomac. It's just Giselle poking and stirring the pot. Like I said, this is what she does. The ladies meet up, head to night golfing. Excuse me, y'all. Giselle points out that, Nneka told Karen what was said. No, Nneka told Giselle what Karen said to her about, I did not know I had a cut on my hand until just now. Sorry, y'all. So where am I? Oh, she told her what was said. So all the ladies are out. getting ready to head to the night golfing. Giselle says, I have something that I want to do. I can do this, she said in confessional. She can do it because she's the one who crowned Karen the Grand Dame in the first place. So Giselle had a sash and everything made up, and she crowns Necka the true Grand Dame of Potomac. It's childish. Candace does what I would have done, which is walk off. And then Candace says something in confessionals that makes me say, this is why sometimes I like Candace. When Candace is like this, I can appreciate Candace. So Candace says, any opportunity that the sinister imp has to inflict pain upon others, she's going to take it. And I agree. This is her trying to make fun of Karen. We all know how hard it was for Karen when that whole tax situation happened and when Karen was forced to move and all of those other things because of what was going on with Ray and his business. So for Giselle to do this is yet another dig at Karen, who is supposed to be someone that she's friends with. So I just find it odd. They're frenemies. You all tell me down below what you thought about this. It was a decent episode. I don't know. We're on, episode 13. And at this point, I don't really feel like we've gotten that much. And I don't think there's many episodes left. If you have not done so already, please like the video. Please comment and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting on? Like, the channel needs to grow because I'm not going anywhere. Anyways, until next time.